here. It's my Friday morning, 5:45 in the morning, a little bit early. My Friday mornings with some of my strength clients, a bit busy, so I have to start my live stream a bit earlier. I will be going live a second time today with Muscles Brown. That'll be in about 5 hours. We're going to be going over our lock of the week, our parlays, our knockdown prop bets, our over and unders, that sort of thing. If you guys haven't checked out my upload, breakdown, analysis, and prediction of Puello versus Matias, that's on the channel now. Guys, if you're new to the channel and this sort of live stream modality is kind of a little bit too much for you, go to my playlist section right now, click on fight predictions. You'll see all of the edited, uninterrupted 10-minute videos of my breakdown and predictions. A lot of the subscribers and Boxing Insider members like these live streams. It gives us an opportunity to kind of go back and forth with our picks. You guys get an opportunity to ask me ask me questions, and we'll get going. Guys, I've been reading the comments. I just woke up this morning. Kativ and David Morell is still on. It's on BoxRec. I put money on the fights earlier in the week. Those fights are still on. Everything I'm reading, it's still on. Clomid, also. People have been asking me. I've been getting a lot of questions because I talked about it yesterday in our live stream. Kativ tested positive for clomazine, clomiphene, call it what you will. This is an agent. I don't want to call it a masking agent. It's anti-estrogen that you see a lot in bodybuilders who take it after a brutal cycle to stop the growth of breasts. Now, it can be also used in fertility. And if you have any questions about that, like I said, I used to live with a guy who used to make his homes. I used to live with a guy in my early 20s. He was my roommate at baseball, who used to make his own steroids. It was insane. So I know all about that. And then also, you guys have been messaging me about Matias and Puello. We could talk about that. And we have the ladies fighting. Everyone's checking in. Guys, for some reason on my live streams this early in the morning, I don't know if it has to do with my building. I went live this earlier in the week and it cut out, so hopefully it doesn't cut out. Yeah, the ladies card is dope. Guys, I have some action. Everyone's checking in. Check in. Let me know where you're coming from. I see Goat in the house, Toys in the house. I love Serrano against Taylor. I think there's going to be a fourth fight, which sounds insane. But I've already have action on Serrano to beat Taylor. I also like an upset. I'm going with Shiraz Metcalf. I know Metcalf is the underdog here, and Shanika Johnson's the popular pick. She's coming from Australia. She has more of a brutal style. She's going to be shorter. If you're looking for an upset, this is far from a lock. People are like, what do you see? You know, it's hard to pick upsets, but it's fun to pick upsets. And the one upset on the ladies card that I think if one were to happen, I like Shiraz Metcalf. Mar the Prince, great question. Mar the Prince asks me, do you think it's worth something to sprinkle something on the draw of Serrano Taylor 3? 100%. Guys, if you know anything about the Serrano Taylor, if you watch the first two fights, I don't think it's controversial to say they were both razor close. I think it's more controversial to say that Taylor won both fights rather than to say that they could have went either way. So the third one, look at the odds. Look at the odds for a draw. When is the last time you guys saw a draw of 13-1? So I think it is worth a sprinkle. To put things in perspective, I'll go over the draw bet for the other ladies. Chantel Cameron to draw, 33-1. Ellie Scotney to draw, 20-1. Savannah Marshall to draw, 20-1. Alicia Bumgardner to draw, 33-1. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano to draw, 13-1. So a lot of that has to do with money coming in on the draw. I've heard some, you know what? I'm glad you asked me that. Somebody messaged me this morning thinking that the Ramla Ali fight could end in a draw. And I was checking those odds. Ramla Ali versus Furtado, based on their styles, that draw is 14-1. So I don't bet draws, guys. I've never bet $1 on a fight ending in a draw. It's not really my style. It's just a conversation to have. And if you're intrigued about it, I think it's worth looking at. Putting a little bit on a draw for Serrano versus Taylor is similar to I'm putting a little bit on Sharita Metcalf to beat Shanika Johnson. The odds are, not in your favor, but if you're gambling for entertainment purposes and you have the bankroll to risk, every week I like risking X amount of money on an upset. That's what I like to do. So if you're not a Johnny Says Boxing VIP insider, we just got this opportunity earlier in the week. It's your opportunity to support the channel, support myself, a couple bucks a month. In this group, today I'm putting my lock of the week, I'm putting my upset of the week, I've already posted my long parlay, and I have some method of victory bets. I really like a couple knockdown prop bets. And then later on today in my second live stream, I'm bringing Muscle Brown on, and we're going to go over a couple other fights because he likes some pro box fights. He messaged me. I woke up this morning with the messages from him, told me to look into some of these pro box matchups. And so we're going to go over all that. Like I said, if you haven't already, you can support the channel. If you're able, a couple bucks a month gets you become a member of Johnny Says Boxing Insider. Chris, the way you join is you go to my channel, and right where it normally says subscribe, which a lot of you guys already did, just hit join. My biggest lock is Puello Moneyline. What's up, West Goat? Just can't see how Matias wins that, honestly. I like that. The Puello Matias fight's going to be very interesting. It's going to come down to game plan. You know what I mean? When we're talking about path to victory of Puello and Matias, Puello, he does a lot of little things better than Matias. Matias does the one loud thing better than Puello on paper. But Matias isn't a guy who is going to one-punch knock you out, though. People love that 100% knockout to win ratio. But the knockouts aren't coming like Deontay Wilder knockouts. He has this volume approach, this accumulative approach to his power, and it's thudding, and it kind of wears on his opponents. Puello's not going to give him that fight. Puello is good from the outside. Puello is a slick southpaw. Puello is going to be a lot bigger than you guys think. He just overall bigger guy. He's longer. He has the longer reach. He has the better jab. People are talking about. I'm going to post this in our community section. Somebody posted on the Matias Puello breakdown video and said, "Oh, if Alberto Puello barely beats Sandro Martin, then Matias is going to knock him out." And I'm like, if that's your reasoning, if your logical reasoning, because you went to BoxRec and saw that Alberto Puello barely beat Sandro Martin and you didn't watch the fight, or you don't obviously know who Sandro Martin is. Guys, Sandro Martin is a nightmare for anybody at 140. Sandro Martin is one of the most awkward southpaws to fight. Stylistically, that was a nightmare matchup for Alberto Puello, considering Puello's style. So to say that if Puello barely beat Martin, then Matias is going to starch Puello. I disagree. I bet you if Sandro Martin fought Matias, it'd be close to a 50-50. Sandro Martin is dude, watch him fight, mate. He has a really unique, weird style. He's hard to look good against. Puello was injured before the Martin fight. Yeah, Westcoast. I think a lot of guys are injured before the fights. We talked about this earlier on the live stream. I don't think a lot of guys go in healthy. I think Burlanga is a lock of the week. I like that Burlanga fight not to go the distance. So I do have Burlanga on my long parlay on the money line, but a separate prop bet if you guys could get good odds. Go to your betting apps right now. I have my betting app open. I really like on a method of victory. If you want to watch that fight under the scope of not cheering for a fighter, but just cheering for a stoppage, will the fight go the distance? No. $1.90. I mean, come on. $1.90. I think if Burlanga wins, he stops Shiraz. And I think if Shiraz wins, I could see Shiraz stopping Burlanga. So if you want good value, $1.90 prop, you could go heavy just on that bet alone. And then Shakur money line. Shakur money line, Burlanga's fight not to go the distance. You're getting plus money. All right, and GOAT, if you want to go the other way, will the fight go the distance? $1.82. So it's really like, and if you want Shiraz on points, and you want to remove the risk of Burlanga on points, will the fight go the distance? $1.82. So whichever way you cut the pie, Burlanga versus Shiraz, there's a way to hedge your bet if you're going money line. You could go money line on a parlay, which I've done. And if you want to hedge the bet, I mean, you're still going to have a little risk. Will the fight go the distance? $1.82. Will the fight not go the distance? $1.90. So even those two outcomes are 50-50. And then there's a knockdown prop bet I like with the ladies. Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. I took a knockdown prop. I know we haven't seen a knockdown yet in the rounds that they fought. We have seen moments where Taylor's been stunned at the end of rounds, where she's kind of been backed up. At 39 years old, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked if one of the girls hit the canvas. I know we haven't seen it yet. 0.5, if you take the prop bet, whenever fighters fight this many rounds, I think they figure each other out a bit more. So if you go to your sports bet app, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, knockdown markets, total knockdowns, over 0.5. The odds are $3.40. Yeah, I don't generally bet on girl fights either. The only girl fighter I traditionally bet on in terms of a real legit heavy money bet is Gabriela Fondora. I've won 3 out of the last 3 with her. And I've been hitting her as a knockdown prop too. So Gabby Fondora, just in terms of her fight style, her size, her division, how she fights. Every time Gabby fights, I always take the knockdown prop bet. And for some reason, the bookies haven't caught on to that. Because it's only a matter of time as she keeps winning, Fondora's knockdown props from the bookies are going to get less and less money. So some people love betting on the ladies, some people don't. I hope Taylor's not going to headbutt Gabriela by knockout versus anyone. I agree. What's up, GOAT? FanDuel have a knockdown props on the girl fights. I like under 1.5. Under 1.5. Let's look at that. Under 1.5. Total knockdowns. That's it. You know what? I didn't think about that way. So total knockdowns. See, my knockdown markets are only giving me over. I'm not getting the under. They're only giving me over knockdown prop bets. Okay. Under 1.5 GOAT is $1.06. So there's no value. Serrano versus Taylor, under 1.5 knockdowns is $1.06. You bet 100 on that prop, you get $6 back. There's no value there. I love my point. I love my over 0.5. I'm living with it. Guys, in the longer you're on my channel, you know this. I'm not selling you on this. This is, you guys ask me for my authenticity. That's one thing I strive to do every day in my life, all around with my friends, family, loved ones, is to be my authentic self. So I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I love that over 0.5. Somebody just asked me a question about the UFC, Kelvin Kattar versus Mean Steve Garcia. In terms of what I've seen from Steve Garcia, how he's trending, how he fights, Kattar's been in some wars. I don't know what those odds are. I'm a big fan of both guys. I just think Steve Garcia is going to be a bit more durable. And he's a dog, dude. Nobody talks about Steve Garcia. I think he came in the UFC short notice and lost his first fight, one of his first fights. And I think he's won like, 4 or 5 in a row with some performance of the night bonuses. And he fights really mean. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Steve Garcia. I think he beats Kelvin Kattar. Kattar's a bit long in the tooth. You know, he's been in some really good fights. He's had some great performances. I think Kattar, correct me if I'm wrong, I know that he's come up, you know, he was part of that, you know, the team in Boston with Rob Font. And I know Rob Font moved up to Montreal to train with Firas Zahabi. Did Kattar follow Font up there? Because since Font went up to train with Firas Zahabi at TriStar, his whole game has gone to the next level. So it is something to look at. If Kelvin Kattar left what do they call it? The New England Mafia, whatever their gym was. So it's something to look at. I still like Steve Garcia in that fight. Can Matias win by decision? I mean, anything could happen in boxing 23. I'm leaning on Puello. If you like Matias, you go for the stoppage. This is just statistically speaking. You know what I'm saying? Statistically speaking, if you like Matias to win, 100% career knockout to win ratio, his only, we know he lost to Nyanyan. He lost to Nyanyan, and then he stopped him, and then his only other loss is to Paro. But if you think he's going to win, that's probably the statistical route. You go by him by stoppage, and then Puello by decision. But I think people are going to be impressed. I think Matias' style is good for Puello. Puello's going to be the sharper counter boxer. He's quicker. He has better feet. I really was impressed watching him operate against Gary Antoine Russell. It was a close fight. I had Gary Antoine Russell up 3-1 going into the 5th. I picked GAR to win that fight, and the adjustments Puello made mid-fight were pretty impressive. And he kept winning the mid-rounds, and then he started outworking GAR. My hesitation with Puello, now I'm rolling with him, is, he wins a close decision. He wins a lot of close decisions. Some guys either win these close decisions, some guys lose these close decisions. Think about, we always talk about Sandor Martin loses close decisions. Tevin Farmer, before he got knocked out, was a guy who loses close decisions. And some guys win these decisions. Now, Puello won a really close one against Akhmedov. He was supposed to fight for a world title against Rolly Romero. He popped dirty for a performance-enhancing drug. He got shelved for about a year. And then he got that opportunity to fight for the interim title against GAR. And then he got elevated, and he's defended once against Sandor Martin. And here we go. But he's a smooth operator. He could box, man. Yeah, I really... And somebody was saying, yeah, it's a tough weight cut to make 140. Matias cuts a lot of weight. After we watched the press conference yesterday, you could go to Matias' Instagram, and he put on his story. He was already cutting weight. He was drenched. So you can't just use the narrative, one guy's cutting a lot of weight. He looks drawn out. When on the other hand, Matias is a big boy too. What do you like, Serrano, split, majority, or UD? Rambler, I'm not getting too fancy with those outcomes. There's no way I'm going to ever... Guys, I will never put... It sucks we have to put our money and our betting in the hands of judges when we know fights usually will go to the decision. So I never bet majority decision, split decision, or UD. I always take... If anything, if you don't want to take the money line, because the odds are good on the money line, take method of victory, just decision, or on points. But I don't get that fancy. Milda Olo asks my thoughts on Alicia Bumgarner to win by stoppage. It's a sexy pick right now at the moment. A lot of people I'm hearing are thinking that Alicia Bumgarner could stop her opponent. She should definitely win. We haven't seen her in a while, and Miranda is going to be there to get hit. When you look at... This is the interesting bit. This is why the question's so back and forth, because Bumgarner on the money line is $1.04. So $100 on Bumgarner to just win gets you your money back plus $4. But this is where it's interesting. Usually you never see this big a disparity between money line odds and method of victory odds. So Bumgarner on the money line, $1.04. Bumgarner on points is $1.50, but Bumgarner by stoppage is $2.90. So think of how crazy those gaps are. $1.04 money line, $1.50 by stoppage, $2.90 by decision. Now, in terms of value risk versus reward, it would be Bumgarner to stop her, to answer your question. But let's see a knockdown market. Oh, guys, I think this is a lock. Thank you for asking the question. I think I'm going to throw this in our VIP group. Alicia Bumgarner, a knockdown prop bet over 0.5 is 2-1. So I like that. I like that a lot, actually. If you guys could get over 0.5 knockdowns for Bumgarner, it's $2. It's $2. So I like that. Good question. I'm going to post that in our group. I'm going to post the knockdown prop bets. I saw one of you guys asked about Kativ and Morell. Do you want to ask that again? I can see Boyle doing enough to win, and then they rob him. I can't. I don't think he's going to get robbed in New York. Yeah, Bumgardner stoppage. Every time, to answer Good's question, every time Inoue fights, I always bet knockdown props, and I always hit. I hit 15-1 last fight against Cardenas for Inoue to get knocked down, and I hit. But no. What did I miss? What's up, Willy Wonka? How do I feel? So meet Ole. So the action I have on Shakur and Zepeda, it's not a knockdown prop. I have method of victory. I got Shakur by decision at $1.50. The only GK, let's talk a little bit about Kativ. What Kativ does really, so the only GK is asking about Kativ versus Morell. When you're looking at Kativ, his highlight tape, his highlights are going to look really good. He keeps his head on the midline. You call it really tight. I call it really stiff here. It's because he throws everything. When you throw everything into everything, you fade because your energy system. You can't be flexed the entire time and sitting on everything, right? So we saw this against Derval Palacio. Palacio was there to get hit. Got dropped early. Amon Kativ does what he always does, thinks he's going to get him out of there. Palacio is a tough Argentinian veteran, overcomes the storm, and it went to a decision the first time Kativ got stretched out to a decision. And by the later rounds, Palacio was hitting him clean. Kativ was just standing there with his guard down, chin up, no footwork. He looks really basic. I expect Morell to kind of highlight on him. Obviously, Kativ is going to be dangerous in the early rounds, but so is Morell. I think I could see Morell, as that fight goes on and on, maybe not stopping him clean, but maybe a corner throwing a towel at Kativ because his head's going to be there to get hit. He drops his guard. He does a lot of things defensively, not very good. Yeah, Kativ just landed, I think, a day and a half ago. Or maybe yesterday. We posted that. Even if he wasn't jet lagged, I think this is easy money for Morell. And to put a bookend on Ola's question about the knockdown prop with Zepeda and Shakur. Once again, guys, when we're thinking about knockdown prop bets, will there be a knockdown or like method of victory? Will the fight come to an end early? Will it go to a decision? What we have to do is use our logical reasoning first based on our knowledge of the game, our knowledge of the fighters, our knowledge of how these fighters fight. And then secondary, you could use your intuitive approach. Maybe some people are just lucky at picking things. I'm friends with a couple of those guys. You go golfing with the dude and he's always winning, or that one friend who puts his name in a raffle, the dude always wins. And you're like, what? Some guys are just lucky. I don't like betting on luck. So when you're looking at Zepeda and Shakur, statistically, I mean, these guys don't get stopped. They don't have losses. They don't get knocked down. I mean, Zepeda did get dropped against Tevin Farmer. I take that back. He did get clipped against Tevin Farmer, so it is a general question. But for me personally, with all that aside, and Shakur has great timing and great speed, I like Shakur by decision as my method of victory. Call that a prop bet if you want. Not really. I mean, if you dissect the money line bet, who will win money line, and then everything from there is a prop, method of victory, over-unders. So you could call it that. I like Shakur by decision. $1.50. I think Shakur by decision at $1.50 would be a safer bet than a knockdown. I got into a debate yesterday too online. And I brought this up yesterday on my live stream. It's so bizarre to me that there's this narrative going around in the boxing world that Shakur is a back foot fighter, that Shakur is a runner. All you have to do is watch his tape to see that Shakur fights on his front foot. It's so great. Shakur's a front foot fighter. The issue is that fans remember the one fight. Fans remember how he fought against Edwin. How did he fight against Edwin? Right? We know he used the whole ring. He won that fight, meaning that if you look at it like a boxing career, like the NCAA tournament, you lose and you're done, or you win and you move forward. Shakur, sometimes fighters have these fights where things aren't going their way. Maybe they're injured. Maybe it's a bad matchup. Maybe their opponent does one thing really well and they don't want to risk it. So they make decisions to win and move on. Shakur won and moved on. But Shakur is a front foot fighter. At 26, he was a world champion at 26 by using his punching power. He was a champion at 30. The fight he had against Valdez, him stopping Jamel Herring. Herring was coming off a huge victory in the UK before he fought Shakur. So Herring kind of was having this renaissance, this moment late in his career, and Shakur stopped him. I think he was a 6-1 favorite. He was supposed to win that fight. Don't get it twisted, but him stopping him the way he did. I think the issue has been moving up to 35. Sometimes power doesn't carry. Starting at 26, 30, 35. That's why I don't think there is any sort of relevance with Shakur moving to 40. I think 140, even though it's only 5 pounds, the guys are bigger. They're bigger punchers at 40. I think Shakur's just fine at 35. But don't sit there and bet and say and repeat this fake narrative that Shakur is a runner. It's not even how he fights. Look at his fight. It's not even how he fights. Oscar Valdez isn't a very weak Oscar Valdez. What are we just recreating narratives? What are you guys talking about? Oscar Valdez is a world-class fighter. Are you guys just making up narratives? Turkey would have robbed him if he would have taken his belt. Turkey would have robbed him if he would have taken his belt. So I was just glad that they didn't take Adames' belt. And that's effed up because I had Adames up at least 2 rounds. Yeah, good does drop some controversial takes. Jimmy Lewis, who you taking on Serrano? What's up, Jimmy? I like Amanda to beat Katie, and I also have an upset. I'm taking Sharita Metcalf on the side bet to beat Sugar Neeks. I wouldn't say Zepeda beat the shit out of Farmer for 24 rounds. I think those 24 rounds were pretty competitive, and who got dropped and who didn't. So you add in a 10-8 round here and there. Zepeda didn't beat the shit out of Farmer. Those were competitive. I had Zepeda winning both fights. But once again, guys, even if you're fans of one guy, that's also another false narrative. Zepeda didn't beat the shit out of Farmer. Those were really high competitive fights. That's why they fought twice. A lot of those rounds were close. It depends on who Shakur's fighting. That's my point. I don't think it depends on how Shakur... I'm talking about a fighter's style. I'm not talking about what a fighter looks like. Sometimes fighters make different decisions. There's certain guys who are counterboxers. There's certain guys who are sluggers. There's boxer punchers. There's guys who fight on their front foot. There's guys who like fighting against the ropes. Shakur's a front foot fighter. Yeah, it's gotten casual up in here, go. I'm just talking about it. I know, but go. We're getting close to fight night, baby. We get close to fight night. People get a bit nervous. But total knockdowns. Alicia Bumgarner. I think Ola, if you're still on the chat, mate. Over 0.5 knockdowns might be my new lock of the week. Alicia Bumgarner's fight versus Jennifer Miranda. Over 0.5 knockdowns. 2-1 money. Let's go, dude. I'm going to post that in our VIP group. Guys, if you're not a member of Johnny Says Boxing Insider, do it now. Right where you've subscribed to my channel. Right next to it, you can hit join. It's a couple bucks a month. You get VIP access to the lock of the week, prop bets, upset of the week, and I'm going to start doing personalized content as well. Basically, if you guys want me to feature certain fights that I don't usually feature, we're going to do that as well. And those features are going to start opening up week to week in terms of having other options to join as well. So any support helps. If you guys haven't already liked this video, also remember to subscribe. Zepeda plus 700. Take the bet. Take the bet. I just think Zepeda's lack of one punch power, Zepeda's sort of unorthodox volume style. He doesn't, dig his heels in when he punches. He doesn't sit on anything. I think all of that is tailor-made for Shakur. Guys, I think Shakur Stevenson is really, really, really good. I do. Am I going to sit here and say every single one of his fights, are going to get me out of my seat? No. Do I watch every one of his fights? Yes. He's really, really, really good. There's so many things in boxing, and this is no shade on anybody. There's so many things in boxing in a world-class match that if you've never fought, never sparred, never had one-on-one coaching with a boxing coach, never been punched before, never had to set up a punch, never thrown a jab before, never learned about range and distance, never learned about cutting off the ring, never learned what a feint is, never learned how to set a trap up. There's all these things that Shakur does that is so that you don't see a lot. You don't see a lot. You don't see a lot from world champions. There's a lot of world champions who become world champions because they've taken what they do really well and they use it. You see that usually at the high, with heavyweights. Deontay Wilder, world champion. I mean, his skills. You put Deontay Wilder at the 140-pound division, I don't even think he gets out the amateurs. That's not supposed to be, no feet, no setups. But because his backhand was so iconic that he just could punch holes in brick walls, there at the heavyweight division, all it takes is one. You could get away with these things. So when you see guys like Shakur, who does a lot of these things really well, what's up, McGee? McGee, the other day when I didn't know that was you. So McGee and I had a back and forth, and I realized that I was talking to you on my email too. I was like, oh shit, what's up, buddy? Later, Deontay Wilder's Avius Griffin. That's why I thought. Yeah, Griffin got stopped with 10 seconds left. That was a couple weeks ago, and I was wrong on that one. Oh, you didn't do anything. No, you didn't do nothing. I was just giving you a shout out. All right, let's hear some of your hot takes with this card. What are your upsets? Somebody give me a upset of the weekend. You already know mine. I like Sharita Metcalf as an underdog to beat Shanika Johnson. Who do you guys like as an upset? Guys or girls? Remla Ali is fighting Lila Furtado. I'm not betting on it. I mean, Remla Ali, yeah. I mean, if anything, the fight to go the distance. So Vega likes Zepeda to win. What are those odds? Well, Puello Matias really wouldn't be an upset because that's a 50-50 fight on paper. Zepeda is a 7-1 dog. Zepeda would definitely be an upset. And then if Burlanga wins, he's the underdog. I still think that should be a 50-50 fight. Did you guys watch the press conference? Burlanga was throwing lingerie at Oscar, and then he made it rain with the money. Hilarious. Burlanga Taylor. Okay, Taylor on paper is actually an underdog too. Okay, so there you go. I mean, Taylor's at $2.50 now. It's weird. All the money, based on the betting trends all fight week, It's all the bettors are thinking that there's going to be a fourth fight. Could you imagine a fourth or even a fifth fight? The Wig, Miranda. You think Miranda's going to beat Bumgarner? Wow. Shadesha Green versus Marshall. So GOAT, guys, I woke up. So Muscle Brown messaged me just now. He was asking me about this Pro Box matchup. Senbatar Erdinabat versus Humberto Galindo. I said, if I can't pronounce a name, I'm not betting on it. Good. If I'm wrong, good. I'm not always right, baby. How could I always be right? We'll see. Only time will tell. I use my reasoning. We'll see if I'm wrong. It's all good, mate. We need people like good. What's the one? Francisco Daniel Veron over Vlad Hernandez. Let's see. This is veteran versus. I'm not betting because of race, dude. Mexicans are super good on box. I think you should replace Mexicans with humans. I'm not going to bet a guy or bet against a guy because they're either Mexican or not. What are we talking about here, mate? It's all love. The fights are going to be good. Dude, this is one of those fight weeks. I said this at the beginning of the week, guys, that this is one of those fight weeks that it's going to be stressful. My internet's about to drop. 6:30. Guys, if this stream cuts out, I'm going to be going live again later on today. For some reason, this time of the day, my internet gets kind of weird on live streams. So if you guys see this freeze, let me know. So Erdenbot, I'm not betting on that Erdenbot fight. Yeah, there's a lot of 50-50 fights. I'm just hoping I go, dude. I'm just hoping if I go 50% after the weekend, I'll be glad. I just don't, I've never gone 0-4. I usually go, on my money line bets. I'm usually about 80 to 90%. But this week, the worst I've ever done was Times Square, where I went 50%, and I think this could be another one of those instances. Times Square. I was right with Devin, but I was wrong with Garcia, and I was wrong with Arnold Barbosa Jr. And my only saving grace was the Naoya Inoue fight. I think he was that the day before or day after when I hit a 15-1. So these kind of big promoted ring cards, because the parity in the matchups. All right, go. Burlanga is now 120 on DraftKings. Cepeda, Matias, Shiraz, Morell. Mark Vasquez, man, that looks good. Good luck on that. I'd feel better. Oh, yeah, I love Rafa. Rafa's one of my favorite fighters. Mar the Prince, Ohio boy, we cover Rafa every time he fights. We broke that fight down, and we live streamed that fight. But I feel more comfortable with Puello beating Matias than I do with Burlanga beating Shiraz. I know, I was just riding high on ABJ. It's always good to look back in hindsight. But, watching Barbosa Jr., where he was in his career, coming off the Catterall, winning some decisions, boxing really well, and then I just don't trust Teofimo Lopez. And I don't mind that loss. The loss that burns me on that day was not picking Rolly. Because even if, you go to my fight prediction breakdown, Rolly versus Garcia, the entire prediction I was talking about how I'm a Rolly fan. I think Rolly could win, but I'm not going to bet on him. And I was salty when I didn't bet on him. So I'm more salty that I went against my instinct with Raleigh. I could live with Barbosa Jr. losing that fight. Burlanga made a career of washed-up 30-year-olds. Ah, good. Nice. You pick Raleigh by decision? That's a solid bet. I'm staying away from the Balderas fight, big fella. I will. I'm going to cover that whole card, Martha Prince. That whole card I'm excited about. So Martha Prince is asking about the undercard on Xander Zayas versus Chino. Puello isn't the underdog, though. And I don't care if I don't care about a fighter being a fan favorite. These odds have been even money all week. I don't think they're gonna rob Puello. I don't think so. Damn, $3 parlays to win 300. Okay, I'm gonna go over this. What did you just say about Shiraz? I missed that comment. Is somebody defending? Yeah, I think the logical reasoning against Burlanga and Shiraz is all emotional regarding who each one fought, rather than regarding the facts of the matter. Is, guys, Hamza Shiraz. The whole narrative about Shiraz was that he was going to be undisputed at 160 pounds. That was the entire narrative. He was the guy at 160. He was supposed to fight Janibek Elimhanaleh. He ducked him. Nobody talks about that. I don't know if it's because the Americans don't know who Hamza Shiraz is, or the big content creators on YouTube from America don't cover all the fights. I've been covering Shiraz, his last 3 fights on this channel. Shiraz was supposed to fight Janibek Elimhanaleh. He ducked him. Elimhanaleh then had to come to Australia to fight a kid who fought out of Bondi Boxing Club, Mikhailovich, and was totally out of his league. And so my point is, you have this narrative about Shiraz. He's supposed to be the guy at 160. So he fights Adames, okay? He fights Carlos Adames, who is, in my opinion, Adames started his career at 47, 54. He's not the biggest dude at 60. And I thought he lost at least 4 rounds. Maybe he definitely lost that fight. I was just glad that they didn't rob Adames, and I'm happy with the draw. Adames keeps his belt. Shiraz was never supposed to move up to 68. After Shiraz beat Ammo, his handlers were talking about Shiraz was the next big thing, talking about Ammo like he was Errol Spence Jr. Ammo Williams is a small 160. Ammo Williams should be at 54. Ammo Williams is an athlete, not really a boxer. I like Ammo. I watch when he fights. I talked about it on my breakdown. I think Ammo lost to Patrice Volney. I think Ammo's kind of a B level. I don't think he's world class. To pitch and sell a guy around an Ammo Williams victory and talk about he's going to be undisputed at 60, and then all of a sudden, after the Adames fight, he moves up to 68. What happened to all this, I'm going to be a champion at 60? So, I don't know. I think that Hamza Shiraz is going to get stopped against Burlanga. I think he's going to get stopped. And I like Dubois to beat Usyk. Yeah, I do. I do like Dubois to beat Usyk. That's not even supposed to be controversial. I told this yesterday. Go to Usyk's Instagram. Watch Usyk for the last few months. He looks like he just got old to me. I think that Dubois at 20... Dubois 6'5", 6'6". His last 3 fights since that loss, all 3 stoppages, banging dudes out. Younger. Usyk yesterday was on his Instagram with his shirt peeled, and he just looks older. I'm taking Dubois over Usyk. Yeah, it's on my long parlay, but I told you this a month ago. I told you this a month ago. Yeah, my bet with Burlanga is the money line. The value's there, guys. The value's there. The value. Why get too fancy with the Burlanga Shiraz fight? Either way. It looks... Yeah. So, Tita, I love the... I already talked about it. I love the knockdown prop in Burlanga and Shiraz. Pick one of them, guys. Pick two of them. Knockdown prop over 0.5, Burlanga Shiraz. The fight not to go the distance, Burlanga Shiraz. And then whatever side you're leaning on, pick the money line. But you know what I'm saying? There's good value either way. I'm not trying to convince people to pick against Shiraz, but you ask me, and I have to give you my reasoning. I'm not picking Burlanga because I'm a fan of Burlanga. I'm not picking any fighter because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the sport. I'm looking at the styles. I don't trust Shiraz. I don't trust Shiraz's durability. I don't trust Shiraz's psychology. I don't like his body language. What I do like of Shiraz, the argument for Shiraz to beat Burlanga is this. He's taller. He has a better jab. He fights at range better. I think he's smarter. I think his fight IQ is a little bit better. And if he wants to win a points decision, he fights Edgar on the outside, uses his jab. But I don't think he's going to do that. Because the one thing about Shiraz, my hat goes off to him, he's a brave fighter. He likes to fight close. He likes to fight in the pocket. And I think that's going to be his undoing. With Burlanga, he's just going to have to answer the jab. He's going to have to get past the jab. And, you know, the victory lap after a loss against Canelo is one thing, but you'd have to ask yourself, how does Shiraz do against Canelo? I don't think Shiraz holds up against Canelo. I don't see, I think he's leaky in his guard, especially in the clinch. He keeps his chin high. And this is just my reasoning and how I break down the fight. It's really hard for me to see Hamza Shiraz come to New York and beat Burlanga as well. So, yeah, that's another 50-50 fight. Iman Kativ, I think he's going to get outclassed. I think Morell is going to take what he learned from Benavidez. I think Morell, even before the Benavidez fight, washes Kativ. Kativ is he's going to be extremely durable. He's never lost. He has a good right hand. He just is so tight, stiff. He gasses, he fades. Just watch his last fight against Derval Palacio. I brought this up earlier. I think Derval Palacio was winning. He won later rounds. He was teeing off on Kativ. I featured that fight on this channel. I broke that fight down. We live streamed it. It was from Australia. Kativ lives in Sydney. Pacheco destroys Macumbi. Just watch Kativ's last fight. Olympic pedigree is one thing. We know as of late what that means. Ask Albert Badargaziev what Olympic pedigree means. Yeah, I got Serrano player. Diego Pacheco. Huh, that's an interesting. Pacheco versus Macumbi. What'd you guys think of Pacheco's last performance? Pacheco fought Steven Nelson. You know, Bud Crawford's guy. I think Nelson, 38 years old. What'd you guys think of his last performance? You did? He looked good early. I felt like if that fight was going to go 12 rounds, I mean, Pacheco lost those late rounds. Rewatch that fight. He looked good early. My point is, Nelson really didn't turn it up until the last few rounds, and Pacheco started to come unraveled. I had Pacheco winning as well, but rewatch that fight. Pacheco's young too, guys. Pacheco's real young. He's developing. I really like Diego Pacheco. I like the work that Benavidez does up there in Washington. I had a teenage prospect on my show, Joseph Brown. Joseph the Prodigy Brown. You know, he trains with Benavidez up in, I think, is it Tacoma, Washington, or Spokane, one of those towns. And everything I heard from him is that Pacheco is just, you know, a workhorse for how young he is. He's ultra addicted to the game. I have everything positive to say about Diego. But he's young. He's young. And Macumbi could crack. We know that. Now, granted, the Macumbi stoppage loss to Caleb. Caleb didn't look too great against... It might just be a case that Caleb got old overnight against Resendez. But I'm not saying Macumbi beats Diego by no means. I'm just saying slow your roll a bit. Let me rewatch some tape. I don't even know if that's a 10 or 12 rounder. I have to see. I have to look at some things, but Diego still has a long way to go in terms of polishing some things up. Yeah, it's a fun fight, right? I'm definitely, like I said, no way, shape, or form saying McCumbie's gonna beat Diego, but I'm not too quick to jump and say it's a lock for Diego to beat McCumbie either. It's a step up. This is yeah. I love how they're taking Diego's career because he's already at a level where he's so close, so young that the next step up is probably what, a title eliminator or a title. So yeah, I mean, after McCumbie, who's next? Diego's a dog. He's a joy to watch. Come on, 6'4", dude. Pacheco at 6'4", 23-0, 18 knockouts, 6'4". He's 24 years old now. What's his best win? You know, he got he learned a lot against Steven Nelson. So it was a 12-rounder. I thought that Steven Nelson fight was a 10-rounder. So maybe if I remember correctly, I think after that fight, I thought to myself, if Nelson turned it up in the 10th, 11th, and 12th, maybe that's what I thought. I thought that maybe if Nelson would have turned it up earlier, he would have had better luck. But the judges, yeah, 117, 111, all three scorecards. Yeah, no real names. I mean, Manny Gallegos. He stopped Manuel Gallegos, and Gallegos stopped, Gallegos stopped Co, and then Co got stopped. It's a decent win. It's a decent win considering Khalil Co got stopped against him, and Pacheco stopped him. It's a good win, especially he was 22 then. So yeah, he's only 24. Give him some time. That's a grown ass man division too. 168 is a grown ass man division. You know what I'm saying? The heavier you get, you get that grown man strength. And there's guys, obviously it's not the deepest of divisions, but Pacheco they've been talking about the Canelo fight, recklessly for a few years. But Mabili, is it too much too soon, Mabili? I don't know. You're leaning on Pacquiao Barrios to go the distance. Well, Janovic at 60. You think Janovic at 168 beats Diego? At 68? I mean, he does cut a lot to make 60. We've seen him have to pull out before, Alam Hanalei. Yeah, let's just focus. Let's see what he looks like against McCumbie first before we start future matchmaking. But yeah, Alam Hanalei is a world champion. He's a handful. Yeah, me too. I love covering that guy. He's a handful for everybody. I love the attitude Janovic fights with too. He's a dog. Pack by decision is a good bet. Guys, who's sitting here right now on the live stream going to bet on Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old? Now, I could see entertainment gamblers betting on him. I'm not betting on that fight. But if you're like betting 20 bucks on an old legend to win, do it. But I'm not doing it. I think it's a travesty, to be honest with you, especially after watching Mario Barrios, how he looked against Abel Ramos. No, you know what I mean? Come on, dude. Yeah, bet on Manny for like the sake of it. But there's a lot of guys on my channel who are like career bettors who make a living. To think that I would even throw 100 bucks on that fight, let alone 1,000, is insane. I would just stay away from it. It's like betting on a goddamn punk ass Jake Paul fight. Yeah, same. You got to YouTube the dude who bet on McGregor to beat Floyd. I ain't YouTubing that. No more. Hell to the nah. More Prince. Hell no. Dude, no way. No way. No more gold medal Olympians. No more Figueroas. Omar nor Brandon. Nada. Of course, McGee. Barrios not a big puncher, but he's young. Brendan Chubb, the CTE big fella. He's young. He's 30. I'll put 5 on Manny by T. Yeah, put a little 5 on it. I'm not betting. I'm not even looking at the goddamn Brandon Figueroa fight. I'm not even looking at it. Abel Ramos is my favorite. Abel Ramos fight was when he stopped Omar Figueroa. I'm not getting into it. But yeah, I'm not betting Joet versus Brandon Figueroa. Good. Good. Cheese. Cheese. I know. I agree with you. Pacquiao picked Bar. It's insane that Pacquiao is fighting for a world title, guys. It's insane that Pacquiao is fighting for a world title. Oh my God. Talk about our sport. Fuck, dude. It's insane. Manny's last victory was in 2019 against Thurman. Do we forget that he lost to Ugas? Oh my God. I forgot Manny fought Broner. Oh my God. What the hell? I forgot Manny Pacquiao fought Broner in 2019. That's insane. Yeah, I'm not betting on this fight, guys. I'm not betting on that fight. Thurman's always been one of my favorite fighters. Keith Thurman's style is ridiculous. No, Ugas is a good fighter. No shade on Ugas. Ugas is a good fighter. Yes, Tito Express. Tito Express. It's one nobody ever get. Dude, you got it. That's one of my favorite scenes. So if you know me personally, I love nuance. I love sort of like things that aren't in your face. If you know what nuance is. But yeah, the scene in Old School. He's like, cheese. Dude, back in my weed smoking days, we would rewind that part over and over and over. Just think it was super hilarious. Didn't we throw you in a dumpster? Didn't we lock you in a dumpster? Yeah, I got out. Fucking great movie. All right, so let's get down to business. You think Zu Fundora goes the distance? That's another one. Zu Fundora to go the distance. I don't know. I think Fundora beats Zu. Manny looks slow. Manny's 46. Guys, Manny's 46. Betting on Manny Pacquiao is insane. Just gambling on that fight. We have to have perimeters. A life without boundaries is chaos. Read what anarchy is. We need boundaries. We need ethical sort of standards. Betting on Manny Pacquiao is insane to me. Just with not saying that, nothing to do with the matchup, but the idea that he's fighting at 46 is just insane to me. Yeah, but just betting on the fight. I'm not betting on the fight. People are going to be so salty how that fight is going to, oh my God, what did we expect? People want to see, like, boxing fans are romantics. Boxing fan, dude, to even think you guys were, the Mike Tyson fight, that is a travesty of our sport. Just based on sheer principle, how do you bet on those fights? And if Barrios stops him, Pacquiao's handlers should go to prison. That's another thing. No, everybody's like really getting excited about Barrios versus Pacquiao, but go to your internet, search 2 weeks ago when Brian Norman Jr. said what he said about Pacquiao, and Brian Norman Jr. got attacked online. It's like these guys are world champions in a blood sport. He's a champion at 47. Norman Jr. said that he would knock out Pacquiao cold, and he got all this hate. But where's the hate out for Barrios? Where's the hate out for Barrios fighting Pacquiao? So it's like, it's insane. Yeah, if Barrios knocks out Pacquiao, people need to get arrested. I'm just saying, just even put him in that situation. Guys, any 60-year-old guys look good on the pads, by the way. A retired world champion at 60 can hit the heavy bag and look good. A retired champion when they're 70 hitting the pad, it's when the lights come on. It's when the ring is there. It's when you start seeing that they have no legs. They have no durability. They have no punch resistance. They have no reaction time. They have no resistance. Did we forget about, the Marquez knockout? That was like, these things happen in boxing. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Manny fight. I don't want to see a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao fight. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's good for the sport. Rama Ali decision. I'm not betting on her. She can't break anything. Chantel, I mean, it's worth a bet. It's worth a bet, but don't bet too much on that parlay guy. Yeah, Carbon, $10, do it. Carbon, $10, go for it. Because I have Metcalf beating Sugar Neeks. Yeah, I have Metcalf winning that fight. Just based off of her length and her jab. Obviously, Metcalf is a bit older, but she's not long in the tooth. She can't really crack, but she has a good jab. Smooth operator. My reasoning for that knockdown is Alicia could crack. Mayweather will beat who? What did I miss? Somebody said, I love you, Johnny, but I think Mayweather would what? Could you repeat? Whoever just commented about Mayweather, I want to see what you said before I respond. Sorry, Johnny, did I miss anything about Pacheco? What's up, Eister? Yeah. DJ Green, what's up, buddy? I had to go live early. Guys, if you're just tapping in an hour into this, we're going live again with Muscle Brown in about 4 hours. May would beat Barrios. I'm a Floyd fan. Of course yeah, but guys, the punishment, I'm talking about what we've seen historically. In Floyd, I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. You're preaching to the choir here. I think Floyd would still beat a lot of guys, not world champion guys, but he would beat a lot of guys. Eister, we did break down Pacheco Macumbi. My opinion on Pacheco Macumbi was, I'm not going to sit here and say Macumbi beats Pacheco, but Pacheco's at 24. He still has a lot of developing to do. Well, Barrios is a world champ. He has a belt at 47, so the facts are the facts. Yeah. The OnlyFans girl, that's wild. No, I'm not gonna discredit Shanika Johnson and just call her an OnlyFans girl. She lives a life. She lives in Queensland. She trains. She's putting in the effort. But I think Metcalf is the better boxer. We said that about BNJ and Schofield. What did we say about BNJ and Schofield? Because I was on opposite sides. My channel since 2 years ago. I've been telling you guys about Norman Jr. I wasn't convinced about Schofield. You won't bet Barrios versus Pacquiao, so bet Manny versus decision. I think you're missing my point about not betting on a Manny Pacquiao fight. I think you're missing my point. Me not betting on the Manny Pacquiao fight has nothing to do with Barrios being good or not, or Pacquiao being good or not. It has everything to do with ethics. I'm not going to bet ethically. Dude, Jason Rosario and William Skull are good fighters. What are you talking about? Whenever you put yourself in a position in a career to fight Canelo, you're a fucking good fighter. What are we talking about here? Jason Rosario. Wasn't Rosario a world champion? Am I missing something right now? Guys, do you realize how many countless fighters nobody here knows who never put themselves in a position to fight for a world title? So if you fight for a world title and you lose, it doesn't make you trash. William Skull fought his entire career, and he put himself in a position when nobody knew his name to fight Canelo. That in itself is amazing. It's weird that it's insane. Rosario and Skull are not good. I mean, what are we measuring compared to like Muhammad Ali? Are we talking about, I'm confused now. Burlanga if we're doing a logical reasoning debate, you guys have to define to me what good is. Define good. Bruno Shiraz, hey mate. Nobody expected Bruno Shiraz to go into Mexico and knock out Munguia. I like William Skull. I got to be honest with you. I like this footwork. There's a lot of people who turn down a Canelo fight. My point is, it's not who's turning down a Canelo fight. It's how many people out there wanted to fight him and just couldn't because they couldn't put themselves or position themselves. Maybe they lost the fight on the way up. Maybe they retired. That was my point. Do you know? Think about how many old heads are putting their hand up to fight right now for a bag. Guys like Edgar Berlanga are good for the sport, though. Boxing has always had guys like Berlanga. I like guys like Burlanga, to be honest with you. I like contrarians. I like guys who kind of mix it up and do things sort of outlandish. I like the way Burlanga operates outside of the ring more than Teo operates outside the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm gonna have a villain or archetype, I'm gonna do it how Burlanga does it. I don't like how Teo does it. Teo does it like a kid who hasn't taken his medicine, who like hasn't really. I feel bad for Teofimo Lopez, how athletic, how talented, how much skill he has. He needs to get it right up top. I love Raleigh. Raleigh's one of my favorite. This is why I love Raleigh Romero. I just feel Teo's whole persona is forced. I feel like he's not happy. Yeah, skill set wise, agree. At least with Burlanga, you're getting a guy who's doing victory. You're getting a guy who's doing victory parades after a loss. Come on. I mean, Burlanga, let him be a gangster. Who cares? That's what I mean. Teo seems like a sweetie. He's like a sweet kid. Stop acting this certain way. Teo's forcing this something onto people. Like he doesn't. He's so good. He doesn't even have to talk. Like his skill set, his skill set, Teofimo's skill set. He's so athletically gifted, such a talented boxer. He doesn't have to talk to sell fights. His fighting should sell the fights. With Burlanga, I get it. I understand. That's kind of my point. But you don't have to be the most skilled or most talented to make a great career. I know. That's my whole point, David. You're only supposed to have a parade after you win. Burlanga don't give a Burlanga's out of his mind. That's awesome to me. You would never see Teofimo Lopez have a parade after a loss or Ryan Garcia because they would be so emotionally disconnected. So like, do you see what I'm trying to say here? Burlanga's is much more authentic. Burlanga is who he is. He's not. I don't think that any of that is a facade. With Teo, I think that like he probably doesn't have a lot of deep-rooted friendships in his life. He probably doesn't have a lot of deep connections in his life. He probably doesn't have a circle of influence to hold him down or hold him accountable. And the leadership coming from up top, it's not shocking to say that his dad, does some controversial things. Seeing the footage when they were younger of his dad getting checked at the ring by Keyshawn when Keyshawn was like 20 for his dad dropping an N-bomb. Like, what are you doing, dude? And then like the hate about what's Teo supposed to do? I think Teo was a teenager when that happened. Yeah, but I mean, I like Berlanga. I like Berlanga's character way more than Teofimo's character. The idea, dude. Call me old fashioned. Call me old fashioned. But having a parade when you lose is freaking hilarious. It's insane. I initially was hating on him for it, but then I came around and was like, dude, this dude. They were throwing candy out the car. Fat Joe was in that piece, freestyling, rapping, lying. All them cats were like, what are we doing? Like, dude, Burlanga is out of his mind, dude. Yeah, fresh. Yeah. Burlanga's out. It's fucking pull up the footage. Pull up the footage and see what was happening. It was hilarious. Did they do 2 parades? Because somebody messaged me yesterday when we were talking about this that said he did a parade in Puerto Rico and he did a parade in New York. I was like, oh, I only saw 1 parade. Yeah, we're getting a parade, guys, boys. I wish we could bet on the parade. There's a parade going down regardless. So, yeah, I think somebody asked you a good question to get back on track here. Of the 50-50 fights, I mean, Serrano, Taylor, in my opinion, is 50-50. We know Matias Puello on paper is 50-50. Burlanga, Shiraz. I'm actually more confident with Puello beating Matias than I am with Burlanga beating Shiraz on my bets. That's where I stand right now, guys. A couple nights from fight night is I already have money on these picks, so I'm more comfortable with Puello beating Matias on my picks than I am with Burlanga. But in terms of path to victory, I'm living with the Burlanga pick. If Shiraz fights smart, I think Shiraz has an easy path to victory. He could just stay on the outside, use his jab, use his reach, use his length. Burlanga is going to have to make it dirty. Burlanga is going to have to get past the jab. But that's how Burlanga fights. He's going to have to take one to give one. He's going to break the body down. I just haven't seen the grittiness and the willingness to kind of overcome adversity from Shiraz. I did not like his body language against Adames. And maybe that's just who he is. Maybe some guys, what did Teddy Atlas say about Mike Tyson? He said that Teddy Atlas said some controversial shit. And, he says a lot of wild shit. But Atlas said that in his eyes, and we know about their history, but I think there's some validation overall about certain fighters what Teddy Atlas said. He said that Mike Tyson was 0-5. He said that Mike Tyson, his whole boxing career, he was 0-5 because he said every fight in which he was supposed to win, in which he was the hammer, he won. But every time in a fight in his pro career, and you could look at the fights where he had to be the nail, in which he had either been down and he had to come back from the dead and he had to overcome a deficit, he never won. He lost those fights. So he said, and people were shocked at the time, he said that Tyson is not a guy that he would have his son cheer for. He's a quitter. We've seen him quit on the stool. People get salty when I say it. I did a video that got taken down on YouTube before how I said that Tyson was a quitter. And, all people remember is his devastating knockouts, the executioner. When Tyson would have a fight when I was a kid, it was an event. It was an execution. It was a public display of executions. My point is not every guy has it in them to come back from the dead within a fight. And I'm not comparing Shiraz to Tyson because I think Tyson's obviously a legend. Tyson, the shit that Atlas was saying, there's some truth to it, but it was obviously personal. We know their history goes back when he was coaching them. But Shiraz, if you take that and put any truth to it, I don't see Shiraz being that guy. Burlanga threw a parade for himself after a loss. That tells you a lot. Shiraz, after a draw, which he really lost, moves up a division, tries to act like he wasn't talking all this trash about becoming undisputed at 60, doesn't even talk about ducking Alam Hanalei, And now all of a sudden he gets positioned by Turkey to come to New York, and in Turkey's eyes to fight a B-level Burlanga. I think Burlanga is the one that's going to show people. I think Burlanga, dude, the more I could see Burlanga stopping him. I think that if Burlanga does win, I think he stops him more than he wins on points. So yeah, we go back to Shiraz's resume, man. Shiraz got dropped by a club level guy 3 fights ago. You know, people are like, you know, you make your career. George Cambos, this is the craziest thing. And we know that George's career. George Cambos has built a career off of 1 win or 1 punch against Teo. He did, but he won that fight. Okay? He won that fight. And look what he's done. Put his hand up, you know, loses fights, but at least he beat Teo. Burlanga built his career after, you know, is building his life after a loss. Shiraz is building his career after a draw. Yeah, Edgar needs to win this fight. I agree with you. I agree with you. Edgar needs to win this fight. 100%. Guys, go to Hamza's Box Rec. Pull up Francisco Torres. Torres ended up getting stopped in the 5th. But Torres, a guy, dropped Shiraz in the 3rd at 160 pounds. My point is, I don't know. I think that Shiraz was a bit rushed. I think that Shiraz should have had another fight even before Adames and a fight after Adames at 60. You know what I mean? I think that his handlers were really confident in him being able to just whitewash Adames. They thought that Shiraz, I think that his handlers think and thought that Shiraz is a guy who he's not. They thought he was going to go and just whitewash Adames. I was saying even before that fight, I was like, man, I would have taken a fight after Ammo. After Ammo, I would have taken one more fight to get to Adames because he was offered Janibek. He said no, and then he took Adames, meaning that he thought he could beat Adames. After that fight didn't go his way, it was a draw. He moves up to 68, changes, and then goes with Andy Lee. And everybody thinks that Andy Lee is this miracle worker. He's a good coach. Very high-level boxing mind. But I'm always hesitant with, you know, whenever guys do that. Burlanga right now could beat Triple G. That's crazy. Y'all out here wild. You think, was that a, do you really think that he could beat Triple G? Did he? Am I true? Oh yeah, he fought Tyler Denny. My bad. He did. He took a fight against Tyler Denny. And he stopped Denny. I still think he should have, my reasoning was I still think he should have took one more fight before. My reasoning was I think he should have took a fight before Alam Hanalei. But he didn't take the Alam Hanalei fight. He takes Adames. He took Adames after Denny thinking he was going to beat Adames. Thinking he was going to unify, become a world champion, and become undisputed at 60. I mean, how do you rank Denny? I don't know. It was a quick stoppage. Denny, Adames is an elite fighter. I agree with you. What are the betting? We already talked about the female card, though. Betting opportunities. Give me your betting opportunities. The girl bets I like, we already talked about it. Yeah, he is. He's not elite, I know. Gary from 3D Boxing was trying to sell me on Tyler Denny. I'm like, come on, mate. And the Brits, watching the Brits break these fights down are hilarious. Aaron McKenna's a dog. I think Aaron McKenna stops Shiraz. People still don't know about Aaron McKenna. Aaron McKenna is the dude who just beat Beefy. Aaron McKenna, I got on the phone with Bomac off of my Facebook. We're Facebook friends. And before the Aaron McKenna fight, I asked him about him. I was like, McKenna goes over to the States. McKenna, no one talks about. McKenna's a dog. I think McKenna is one of the best prospects contenders now coming out of the UK. What was Tyler Denny's best win? I mean, he did Bradley Ray. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But McKenna's pressure, mate. McKenna's willingness to go. McKenna has an energy about him, how he fights. Okay. McKenna versus Shiraz. The thing that I don't like about Shiraz is exactly what I like about McKenna, and it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with any physicality or any attribute. It's the spirit that they fight with. McKenna has this thing he fights with that you can't measure, you can't teach. Some fighters have it, some fighters don't have it. McKenna, you could see that he fights with a certain energy, and he's still developing. His last performance. 7 o'clock. Guys, it's 7 a.m. here. I'm going to be going live with Muscle Brown in about 5 hours. Stay tuned to the channel. I've already uploaded Puello versus Matias, my breakdown under fight predictions. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed, do it now. This live stream is going between 50 and 70. We're at 25 likes. Could you like this video? Also, if you want to become a Johnny Says Boxing Insider, get up-to-date lock of the weeks, long parlays, upsets. I'm putting that in the new group. It's a new group that just started this week. If you could afford it, it's a couple bucks a month. It helps me grow the channel, helps me out as well. I put a lot of time and energy into this. If you go to my page, it says subscribe, which you probably already have done. Right next to it, it says join. If you're able, do that, and I really appreciate it. I broke down the Kativ fight. I broke down all these fights. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to be live in a couple hours with Muscle Brown to go about our parlays specifically, fight by fight, money line by money line, method of victory. He has some fights he wants to talk about. I'm going to be giving him the mic for a while, so don't miss that one. I'm putting it up on our channel right now, the reminder. So hit the bell notification button. DJ Green, to join, you have to update your YouTube app. Update the YouTube app and hit join. Peace. I'll talk to you guys soon.